Willie D. Live.
What's up, family? There's a couple of old sayings that go like this. You tell one lie, you gotta tell another. Tell the truth so you don't have to remember the lie. Somebody forgot to give juror number 6 in the Diddy case the memo because this dude lied about his residence. In an offhand remark to court staff, the juror mentioned that he had moved to New Jersey with his girlfriend and had been living there most of the time. When questioned by the court, the juror said actually he was spending 4 to 5 nights in his New York apartment, the judge said. In follow-up questions, the juror said he moved to where his daughter lives with his girlfriend in New Jersey. When the jury selection first started, I told y'all that people was going to be lying to either get out of having jury duty or stay in. Why would they want to stay in? Because they get to write a book. They get to be part of history. They're going to get some bread out of it. They're going to get some attention out of it. So yeah, imagine, fam, trying to figure out how do you get on the map? How can I get on the map? What can I do? What can I do to make some money? What can I do? I've tried everything. I've done everything. And you get the golden opportunity to serve on the jury for the Diddy trial. One of the biggest cases, so far the biggest case of the century, the 21st century, the biggest case of the 21st century. So the biggest trial of the 21st century. The biggest case, well, no, I guess the biggest trial. I don't know. I think the Trump trial was big, but it wasn't big. It wasn't like this. It didn't have all of the lights and interest that this Diddy thing have. People was nowhere. It had nowhere near that interest. But the implications were a lot stronger, right? The implications were a lot more important. So one more important, one more interest. Yeah. In any event, the juror lied. Who is this juror who lied, who's messing up the program? It's a 41-year-old black male. Diddy's team fought hard to keep him on that jury because he's a black man, done a little living. He can relate to Diddy. At least that's what Diddy's team was hoping. It was like, hey man, it ain't that bad that he lied. The trip part about it was that the judge dismissed this juror, but did not dismiss the witness who lied on the stand. Or at the very least did not recognize that the witness had perjured herself. I'm talking about Jane Doe. Was it Jane Doe or was it the other one? No. I think it was the what's her name? Brianna Bungolan or something like that. Brianna, that's her first name. She perjured herself, and the judge said, I'm not going to view this as perjury. I'm not going to view her testimony as perjury. So, that's the problem with courts in America. The judges have too much latitude. They just have way too much latitude. When judges make certain decisions, they should be judged by a jury of their peers. They should, and some of these judges, for their decisions, they need to be investigated because it lets you know what type of person they are. For example, a guy is on trial for raping 3 women, 3 kids, whatever, right? Beating one of them severely. But because he's an Ivy League student, and he comes from a wealthy home, the judge says, I don't want to ruin your life. So he slaps him on the wrist, gives him put him in a diversion program, and let him carry on with his life. Just like that. I'm talking about, and here's the thing, that guy could very well end up a judge himself because his record disappears. So you really don't know what type of dude he is. You really don't know what he's capable of doing because his record just disappeared or it was sealed. There are people who work in high positions all over this country who have criminal records, who have done some of the most erroneous things, but you'll never know about it because they got their records expunged or things just kind of disappeared. Yeah, but you got to have the right complexion or some bread for that. You got to have some money, something along those lines. That's right, I said it. I'm gonna call a striker, the ball a ball. I can tell you what juror number 6 was thinking. He was like, man, I'm finna get paid from to write me a book. He'll still be able to write a book though, because now his story is more interesting than the other jurors because he's the one that got dismissed. Everybody else pretty much got the same story. But now his story stands out more. Out of all the jurors, he stands out more than anybody because he just got kicked out of the jury box. Interesting. The judge, I don't know about this judge family. Yeah, I don't think this judge is being fair and impartial. I think that this judge is, in his rulings, have stuck it to Diddy, and no pun intended. And I think that because of that, he's opening the gate for appeals. When you try a case like this where people have unlimited resources like Diddy do, you want to make your case and you want to seal that case. You want to make sure that case is airtight. If there are any holes in the prosecution's case and they're dealing with a man of resources, a man of means, they are going to open themselves up for an appeal, and that appeal will most likely be granted. At the conclusion of court on today, Judge Subramanian dismissed juror number 6 over inconsistencies and statements he made about where he lived. And he said they raised questions of candor and ability to follow instructions. But he ain't the only one who did not follow instructions. So why was he the only one dismissed? And we know those witnesses did not follow instructions, but their testimony was still upheld in the courtroom. I wonder why. I'm telling you, fam, I do believe, and look, but let me make my point first. I do believe Diddy is going to get, he's going to win. I believe that he's going to be found not guilty. And even if he is found not guilty, he's going to win an appeal if it gets that far. Because Trump, if he's still living, is absolutely going to pardon Diddy. Mark my words. No more talk.